Right now we are going to do a rocket ship with rocket lander with 2 big marshmallows as our people. They're gonna become humans. We're gonna drop it 4 feet down. We're gonna test it with our group and drop it 4 feet down. And if we pass that, we're gonna drop it 7 feet down. And if we don't drop that, then we have to retest it, redo it, and rebuild it, and then do it again. That's what we're doing today.
My name is Brennan McConduit, and I'm a traveling program supervisor for the Youth Development Program. We're out here at Point Thurman for our second visit. The first visit was more hands-on training with ourselves as a staff and preparing our staff at these school sites for the NASA projects. And today we're actually bringing all of our kids out to have a little sample and a test run at what they're going to be working on for the next couple of months.
Welcome to NASA's BEST program in collaboration with the Los Angeles Unified School District. So if this is NASA's BEST program, then all of you must be NASA's best students, right? Yeah. Oh, that was not convincing. Yeah. NASA's best students. Yeah. Okay, all right. So now, what does BEST stand for? Good. BEST. Okay, repeat after me. Beginning. Engineering. Science. And technology. So now you know why you're NASA's best students, right? Okay, all right. I'm thrilled to open up. My name is Katrina Emery. I'm the Acting Education Director at NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center. And I am absolutely thrilled to be here today and to partner with Los Angeles Unified School District's Beyond the Veil program. I want to welcome you, and we have 3 speakers who are going to come forth and launch this activity and launch the program. But they're going to be very brief. They're going to talk about their programs and their pathway and their passion. And so without further ado, the first speaker, Tim Bowers, is the administrator for the Beyond the Veil program. So Tim?
Right. So good morning, boys and girls. Good morning. I am so glad you came here today and came to Point Thurman, because you're all part of Beyond the Veil branch. Everything you do after school or before school during your programs are directly related to Beyond the Veil. And we invited you, as our first speaker said, because you're the best. So give yourselves a big round of applause because you're the best. And all these people here today are here to see you really have fun. We're not going to be speaking at you all day like this today. In fact, you're going to be doing a lot of the work. And I think that's going to be exciting for you. I would like to thank NASA today for coming and helping us with this curriculum. I think you guys, when you leave today, you're going to know a lot more about NASA and a lot more about how to learn science, technology, engineering, and math. It doesn't sound exciting when I say it like that, but when you get your hands into the projects, you will see that it's a lot of fun.
But it's all well within your grasp. Don't ever think, one thing to think about with engineering and physics and getting a higher degree is that you, whether you're a 3rd grader or a high school student now, think, I can't solve planetary motion, I can't solve complex equations. But you can, because everything builds on itself, and you'll learn that.
And I am not a scientist or an engineer, so for those of you who are not interested in being a scientist or an engineer, and all of us don't have those gifts, you can be a business person. We also have people that work in human resources, people that buy things for us in procurement, people who manage our money, which are our resources and budget people. So I guess my message to you is there is something in NASA for all of you. So just again, on behalf of all of us in Washington, the entire NASA family, we want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to be here today. And we hope that you will have a wonderful, wonderful experience. And when you leave here, that you'll be inspired to be our next generation. So let's give yourselves a hand. Take your time out.
Enough talking about what people do. You're actually going to be engineers today. We've got a critical design challenge for you, and you're going to do what engineers do. And I'm going to have Mr. Harry come up here, and we're going to have Susan Hoban and Shiva. They're going to talk about your materials. You're going to have about an hour and a half to complete a series of tasks, and then you're going to compete. And we want to see which group here can come up with the best design. You'll be working with your school groups, and you'll be put into teams of 3. And after they get done, we'll explain which students are going to transition to which station. All right, so at this point, Alexis, Susan, all right.
I'm going to start and I'm going to shout because I can't hold my crutches and my microphone at the same time. Can everybody hear me? Yeah! Anybody not hear me? All right, cool. So I just want to lead off with the question that Mr. McBride asked you. I'm going to ask it again, but we're going to take it a little further. How many of you like to take stuff apart? Cool. How many of you like to put it back together? That's hard, right? That's the hard part. Now here's what we're going to want you to think about today, and I'm going to stop talking. Engineers, we use that word a lot. Some people think engineer's the guy who drives the train, but what the engineer is the person who sees a problem and fixes it. They figure out a way to fix it. So they figure out not only how to take the thing apart and put it back together, but put that thing back together to make it better than it was when you took it apart. So I want you to have fun, and I truly believe that you guys are NASA's best students. I came all the way from Maryland on the other side of the country just to see you guys work today. So I'm glad to be here. Have some fun.
9, 8, 7, 6. Go for main engine start. Main engine start. 2, 1. Booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way for future missions beyond.
Anybody else need aluminum foil? No?
Finally, we launched the rockets.
Off of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving for future missions. Boost ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, 1, 2, 1. Boost ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery, returning to the space station, paving the way.
We learned that engineering is fun and exciting. Rocket Rock!
Today we have the students engaged in a mini design challenge. It's curriculum from NASA along with the design squad, and it's known as Touchdown. The students are designing a lunar lander, and the objective is to design a lander and the marshmallows representing the astronauts, and when we drop it from 4 feet, the astronauts need to stay inside of the cup. It's a part of the engineering design process where they imagine it, they design it, and they test it, and if it doesn't work, they go back for redesign.
We didn't do any tape. We just try to make them squishy. Yeah. And then we go like that. You get it right in. And then after when we're all finished, we're gonna test it out.
Technically doing is putting straws in the rubber band to level it out, and we also put straws under like that to level this out, so it will completely just like that, and so the marshmallows won't fall out. So when we do like that, it falls immediately.
Do that again?
We're gonna name it Mission ADA. And Mission Andrew Donovan Allen. Yeah. What are we gonna do with these straws? Oh, my hair. That. Yeah, there's a little basket.
So what made you guys think of this? What made you add these on the bottom?
Because when the force of gravity pushes it down, it's like if you're on a jumper.
What is this similar to? What does this look like?
Well, it's sort of like cleats, actually.
Yeah. So what does a cleat do though?
It has like little spikes in the ground, like at the bottom. So you put like little mushrooms.
How else could you make something else crunch, like go down?
Well, we could
Cause look at it at its level. What else could you make it add dimension to it somehow?
We could put like little straws. We're supposed to do one, Dad.
Ours already used 2. We had 3.
What were you supposed to do?
I was in middle school, actually, and in 8th grade. And somebody from NASA came to my school and talked about the Apollo program that was coming to land on the moon. And I really got excited about listening to this person from NASA. So I feel like I'm paying back a little bit by doing this, that hopefully out there some of these kids will get motivated and want to work for NASA someday.
1. Oh. All right, what do you think went wrong right there?
Oh, we have to tape it back to the bottom.
Tape or what else can you do? I don't know, think about it. 3.
Go! Please!
All right, so did it work?
Sort of.
First time it did.
Sort of.
They both came out or just one?
2 came
out. So what are you guys gonna do to improve it? We're gonna put more tape on the bottom. So
we need more tape.
So then the bottom, this cup thingy doesn't fall out because it did it already twice.
First we tried the basic ideas of how it would fall just with the card, and so now what we're doing is reinforcing it for on the bottom to have an even weight. And
You've probably heard the word engineering before, and you've probably been told it's pretty important. But what exactly is engineering, and who exactly is an engineer? Engineers are people who design and build things that we use every day. However, they don't just go building the first thing that comes to mind. They work hard to make something we need, and they want to do a good job of it. So how do engineers decide what they need to build? Well, in most cases, they start with a question. Here's an example. Say you live on a space station, and something outside breaks. Obviously, you need to go outside and fix it, but how exactly do you do that? That's a great question for engineers. Once they've got a good handle on things, they'll start imagining ways to solve the problem. They'll come up with all kinds of ideas, and some that might even seem a little crazy. That's important because sometimes the craziest idea is the one that works best. After coming up with these ideas, they'll pick a few that make the most sense. Next, they'll start drawing a plan. Depending on the idea, the plan can be very simple or very complicated. But the important part is the plan itself. A good plan helps engineers focus on what they're making and, most importantly, why. Now the engineers get to have some real fun. They get to create something. It's important to stick to the plan, though, so the idea doesn't go too far off course. Once they've built it, then they have to test it. Experimentation is very important, because it's here that engineers learn what works and, well, what doesn't. And while it's great when something goes right on the first try, it's actually good when things don't, because that gives engineers a chance to go back and improve on their original idea. And improve they will until they've solved the problem. So the next time you've got a problem to solve, whether simple or complicated, there's probably a team of engineers ready to create something to solve it. And nobody solves engineering problems quite like NASA.
Well, one of the things, as a science educator, one of the things that I'm interested in is to keep kids engaged. One thing that we know about learners is that whenever you do a science activity for the first time, it's difficult to sort out and to understand what's going on. So a good science educator will provide a series of activities to allow kids to explore any one particular concept, and usually through repetition, where they get to work with magnetism, sound waves, whatever the concept may be. If they have 4, 5, 6, 7 different activities, they start to understand and construct their knowledge about science. We've learned so much about how kids learn and retain the information, and then more importantly, we want to know how the kids can recall this information to solve future problems. And so when you look at these kids that may become engineers, scientists, we want them to be able to be good problem solvers. We want them to be good thinkers. If you stop and think about this, what are the characteristics of a good thinker? Somebody that is persistent with the problem. They don't give up. They question, even their answers, to go back and check their answers, and they know how to ask good questions. Solving a problem is about the journey. It's not the destination, and that's what those of us in science are all about, is trying to help kids to really love and appreciate science. Clearly, what happens, it can take an event like this, or just any individual science activity by a teacher, that that kids remember and will cause them to take an interest in more science and mathematics in school. And clearly these are where the opportunities are in our future.
We've lived on the Earth for a long time, and we've gotten pretty good at it. In fact, we've gotten so good at it that we've started thinking about living somewhere else. Somewhere like another planet, or even somewhere as close as our moon. Now, one of the reasons we're so good at living on the Earth is that it has pretty much everything we need. Somewhere like the moon doesn't. So if we want to live on the moon, we're going to need to take a few things with us. And what are the 3 basic things we need in order to live? That's right, food, water, and air. Let's start with air. The moon has none. Humans need a combination of gases in order to breathe like we do here on Earth. So what happens when we start running out? We can bring more, but that gets expensive. So we need to find a way to make some more on our own. How about adding some plants? Plants take our carbon dioxide and convert it into oxygen. And as a convenient byproduct, we can eat them too. That helps solve our food problem. But we're forgetting one thing. Both humans and plants need water. We'll bring some to start, and we've come up with some clever ways of recycling it. That can keep us going while we search for water or ice. So we have our food, our water, and air. What else do we need to deal with? That's right, the sun. The sun helps plants grow, and we can use solar panels to give us power. But too much sun can be dangerous. On the Earth, we're protected by our atmosphere, so we get just enough sunlight. But on the moon, there is no atmosphere, so we need to protect ourselves from all that radiation. So now we're living happily on the moon. Well, what happens when we want to do something like order pizza? Well, on Earth, we just pick up the phone. We can do the same thing on the moon, but it's not that simple. We need satellites to make that call. But seriously, folks, our scientists on the moon will be doing more than just ordering pizza. They'll be sending lots of information back to the Earth, so we can learn more about our new environment. And when it comes to living in space, the more we know, the farther we can go.
design process.
You have been hired by NASCAR to design and build a new race car.
Number 1, ask. Start by asking questions that will fight for new ideas to solve the problem.
Number 2, imagine. Imagine the different designs your race car can have by brainstorming new ideas.
3, plan. Sketch out a drawing of your race car with plenty of details.
4, create. We will race cars use the material providing to you. 5, experiment. Test your race car on the track.
3, 2, 1.
One marshmallow fell.
One astronaut just jumped that like.
And we've seen literally over 100 different designs today. So it's just really fascinating, the same challenge given out, and you see so many differentiated solutions to the challenge.
It was an incredible event. Students learned, they were engaged, they had a great time, and they were left wanting more. We're looking forward to kicking off our pilot program with NASA at our schools, these 7 schools, and we look to do that in the early spring. And then we will have another culminating activity in June where these students will come together once again and present the projects that they have learned and have built and engineered at that culminating event. So we're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to our students developing new ideas and having new thoughts of what they can do in the future.
Science. Technology. Engineering. Mathematics.
There you go.
STEM.